Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 3rd of December 2019, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this Tuesday's afternoon session where we're going to have a quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, so also before we jump into the charts, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel here, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website, specifically our research page, which we update on a daily basis. So I believe you can find a lot of useful stuff here for yourselves, guys. So yeah, feel free to visit us on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab. Right. Let's jump into the charts. Now, the first one I want to touch on here is the DAX. So the German index continues to slide. So this is what I talked about this morning. So just a quick update on what was said this morning. Basically what I was saying, that in a way, if the index struggles to push back above the 13,044 mark, then we may see another round of selling. So we saw the index traveling higher, breaking above the 1344, but never even closing a 4-hour candle, not really closing a 4-hour candle above this level, and basically now it drifted back down. The bears are winning, and the more important thing is that we're very close to the low of yesterday. So in a way, for those who are more on the cautious side, you could just in a way wait for this one to break below the 12,900 and 12,955 mark. We're not far from there, so we'll keep an eye on this one, and if we do get a nice good drop below this in a way increases the chances of a further move lower, especially if we get a nice daily close below this level as well. So for now, everything's kind of leaning more towards the downside. Of course, don't get me wrong, this move lower could still be seen as part of a larger correction to the downside. So that's why we're going to be very careful here. And initially, yes, we will aim for the downside, but again, we'll be very careful near the 200 EMA and near this upside support line taken from the low of the 15th of August. Similar story here is on S&P 500. Now, I talked about this one yesterday, and basically I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this upside line. So we managed to get a break below this upside line, below this key area of support near the 3,127 mark. And looking at the cash index right now, we can see that actually the index is already below this level right here near the 3,091 zone. So that's why, guys, be very careful. I mean, don't get me wrong, we are quite, let's say, overextended even before the market has opened. So in a way, maybe a bit of correction back up could be possible. So like I said, the index is right now, the cash index is right now trading near the 3090 level. In a way, if we get a bit of correction here, but if the index struggles to push back above the 3,127 level right here, we're not gonna any move higher we will consider as a temporary correction before another leg of selling. So again, this is of course from the very short-term perspective, because overall you can see that we, on a broader range here, we are still trading higher. And if we, let's say for example, if we take from the low of December 2018, we can see that the index is still above this this medium term, or actually, is it still a medium term? It is still a medium term upside support, tentative upside support line. So that's why, guys, that's taken from the low of the 21st of December. So for now, in a way, yes, we will aim for lower areas, but that's from the very short-term perspective. Again, looking at the cash index right now, we are seeing the index trading around here near the 3090 zone, maybe just slightly below that, but a nice recovery here could be possible, and but if the index struggles to push above the 3,127 zone, then we could see another round of selling. This, in a way, also what to mention here, this in a way could come in line with a possible head and shoulders pattern here. So again, that's a bit of, I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit here, guys, but something to consider in case the index struggles, let's say, to retrace back above the 3,127 level, and then this level right here, the 3,090 zone, roughly around there, could become a nice neckline. But again, that's a bit of a long shot here. Let's see if it actually happens. Silver. Silver, of course, logically, as a commodity, as a safe haven asset, is pushing to the upside when the equity markets are on a slide. So right now, yes, we are seeing a nice push higher. So this morning I talked about this level right here, the 17,040 mark, because a break above this would we needed to see a break above that in order to consider higher levels like the 17.11 or the 17.20. So initially our target is going to be around the 17.20. After that, we're going to see what he wants to do, because this is the area of a very strong resistance level. Where on the around mid-November the commodity was held at. So, and also this is where the price could meet its 200 EMA on the 4-hour chart here. So that's why, guys, for now, like I said, we are going to target only this area, and after that we're going to see what he wants to do. If he wants to break above it, then yes, it could travel further north. The only thing is, let's keep in mind that we do have ourselves a medium-term downside resistance line here, a tentative, of course, but still a downside line taken from the high of the 4th of September, and probably actually it's a more of a short-term one. So there we go. Let me just correct myself here. But anyway, the first target to keep an eye on is, of course, this area right here around the 17.20 mark, maybe just a little bit higher, of course, because we do have the 200 EMA here, and then we'll take it from there. In terms of the downside, we would like to see this one dropping back below this little short-term tentative downside resistance line that we had here, drawn from the high of the 26th of November, and only then we will consider slightly lower areas. But for now, it seems that the downside could be slightly off the table. Ethereum, something that I haven't looked at for quite a while, and basically I wanted to kind of start this one from scratch a little bit. So basically, after we had a break of this key area of support here, and let me just put this one on the chart. So this area around here, so roughly around here, and or in a way we can actually even draw a nicer range. So let me just put a nicer kind of range here. So something to consider, guys. So basically, we had a nice drop below this this key area of support. You can see that the crypto managed to travel back towards this support area, previously seen as support. Now it was seen as a resistance. Kind of bounced around here and now drifted back down. So in a way, this support area is roughly between the 152 mark and the 156 zone. Again, we're keeping a close eye on this one, and how we could play this one out right now is if we get a nice push higher, but if until we see a clear move above the 158 mark right here, which is the high of the 29th of November, we're not going to do anything here. We're not going to consider any higher levels, because again, at this point, at this somewhere around here, it could also find some resistance and then reverse back to the downside. So that's why, guys, with Ethereum here, be very careful. Yes, it is kind of rebounding right now to the upside, but actually, let's see if the bulls have enough steam on this one. In terms of the downside, now again, it's also a bit of a tricky one here. So we could consider this potential area here as a possible breakout point to the downside. The only thing is, probably for those who are more on the cautious side, you could just wait this one out, and in terms of the downside, wait this one out and wait until we see a drop below the 132 mark, which is the lowest point of November, and only then target the downside, because this way the crypto would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and we could then start targeting these lower levels. But again, for now, with the downside, it's also a little bit tricky. So that's why, guys, let's wait for a break through one of these key areas of ours, and let me just put some arrows here just for our future reference, and This is for the upside basically, and for the downside it's this one right here. I'm not gonna go and search for a lower level here underneath. Again, we could target the psychological 100 level after, if let's say if we get a break below the 132 zone. But let's see actually first if it actually wants to travel lower or not. But if it does, then we'll reevaluate in Ethereum again. But for now, probably I'm going to say that we're more neutral, but we're keeping a close eye on these two levels that I've just mentioned. Jumping into a few pairs now very quickly. So USDJPY, I talked about this one this morning as well. What I was saying that in a way, in order, well, overall, we were still bearish. The only thing is that our bearishness could be limited due to this upside support line taken from the low of the 31st of October. So you can see that we did manage to see a push higher a little bit. We tested the 109.21 zone, but failed to move above it, and this is where the sell-off occurred. Of course, the yen buying is increased right now because of the sliding equity markets. And what I was saying, that if we see a drop below the 108.89, this is where we could start considering lower areas. Initially, we'll aim for the 108.71, but then we could, like I said, target this upside support line and see how it performs around here. If it gets a hold up, we may see a bit of a correction here back to the upside, so something to consider. And probably this is going to be our main scenario right now. So where we could see this one drifting further south, but if it gets a hold up near this upside line, then we could see a nice rebound and a push higher. So that's why, guys, for now, be very careful, and let's see how this is going to play out. So with this one, like with the upside here, to be honest, it's also a bit of a tricky one. But let's say if it starts pushing back above the 108.89, yes, we might consider slightly higher levels, maybe up until here, up until the 109.21. But even here, it could be a little bit of a tricky territory here. That's why we would ideally like to see a push back above the 109.21 zone before considering slightly higher levels. GBPUSD. So, managed to pop nicely to the upside. This is what I talked about this morning. So I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this 1.2950 zone, 51 area, and the next target for us would have been this 1.2985. So which we managed to get a perfect hit off, but the pair didn't stop there, and it traveled further north and almost tested this high here, the highest point of October, near the 1.3013 level. As you can see from there, it retraced back down. So this is where it's going to be quite interesting to see if this pair can actually move further north. If it can, this would confirm a forthcoming higher high, and we could start aiming for higher levels. Of course, higher levels like, and let me just put this one on the chart quickly. So higher levels, this is a very key area of resistance here near the 1.3186-85 zone, and that's basically the high of the, or should I say, the highest point of May this year. So good potential target, but we would need to see this level getting cleared first, the 1.3013. Ideally, a daily close would be great to see here in order to get a little bit more comfortable with higher levels. But if this 1.3013 level gets a hold up, or should I say it holds the rate down, yes, we could see a bit of a correction here to the downside. The only thing is for us to probably consider slightly lower areas in the short run. A drop below the 1.2930, 29 zone, roughly around here, would be needed, and then we could start aiming for these slightly lower areas. Also, don't get me wrong, we do have some key areas of support underneath here, so that's why we'll wait for a drop below the 1.2929 in order to or should I say, start considering slightly lower areas around here. Initially, we'll target the 200 EMA, and after that, we'll reevaluate this pair again. But for now, everything's looking quite positive. The only thing is that, don't get me wrong, we need to see a nice daily close above the 1.3013 before examining higher levels. So keep your eyes on that one. And the last pair for this session is euro dollar. So this is what I talked about this morning as well. So we may see a bit of a correction to the downside. We got a little bit of correction. The only thing is that for us to get comfortable with a further move higher, we would need to see a nice good break and ideally a close. Now, ideally a close of a daily candle, but a 4-hour candle could do here as well. So we could start considering higher levels if we get a nice close of a 4-hour candle above the 1.1093 level, and then yes, we could start looking further north. But again, for now, as long as it kind of stays below this 1.1093, we cannot really talk about the upside, because if it continues to trade below this and by some reason it starts reversing back to the downside, this would confirm a nice range here, and we could see the pair kind of trading here for a while. Let's put it that way. So, and that's why we have our little short-term downside scenario here from the 1.1043 mark. So previously, we were waiting for this one to act as a gateway towards higher levels. Now this could be the gateway towards lower areas. So that's why, guys, for now, in terms of the downside, yes, we will wait for a drop below the 1.1043 before considering a possible slide back down towards the 1.0989. But again, because it's closer to this area of resistance right now here, all eyes are on this level, because if we get that daily close above this, then this increases the chances of a further move higher. So that's why, guys, be very careful, keep your eyes on this one. Let's see how this is going to play out, and stay safe, have your stop losses in place. We are, like I said, we are in a very interesting period right now, so we could expect a bit of volatility, increased volatility in the markets. So that's why, guys, be very careful and don't overtrade. Okay, guys, I really hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for sticking around and watching it till the end. If you want to join me tomorrow morning, as always, at my Traders Espresso, that's 7 o'clock GMT time. For now, I hope you have a beautiful trading day, guys. If you're still trading, and if you're finished, I mean, yes, I'll see you tomorrow, guys. Have a lovely evening. Everybody have a lovely evening. And like I said, join me tomorrow with my Traders Espresso at 7 o'clock GMT. And then we'll have a look at the markets again and see how some of these instruments performed overnight. We'll add some new ones. And yes, guys. So like I said, have a nice evening. And bye-bye.